Cathedral of Shadows, where demons gather.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cathedral of Shadows, a Megami Tensei podcast. I'm Rasen, and here I have Katsu.
Hey guys, what's going on?
And today we're back to regular podcast form. Last two episodes we had two really cool guests on. Now it's just us two again, so no one's gonna watch
It's just
this.
us two.
Yeah, no one's gonna watch this anyway.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of news, and by a little bit of news, I mean Devil Survivor Overclocked is going to the eShop by the end of this month or later this month or something. So look forward to that in case you're digital only.
Yay!
That's actually probably a good thing because the price of that game fluctuates quite a bit on Amazon. I know I bought it for like $40 and then like the next day it was down to like 25. Um, so that sucks. It's pretty good for anyone who's looking to get that game finally. I think that's the last SMT 3DS game that wasn't on the eShop, which is odd because it was released first. So
Yeah,
that's great.
I think it was like the first RPG on the 3DS.
Did it come out at launch? It came out around launch, I know.
Yeah, it came out around launch.
Because I know they had that like weird Ghost Recon strategy RPG that no one bought. So if you count
Yeah,
that, maybe. Um,
maybe.
yeah. But I remember a lot of people got into SMT because Overclocked was one of the few games worth playing at the 3DS's launch. So
Yeah,
kind of like how Persona 4 Golden is like half the reason to own a Vita. Anyways,
it's the only reason to own a Vita, according to IGN. It's the number one Vita game of all time thus far.
there's ports of other games. Actually,
Yeah, the
yeah,
game has
Persona.
other ports.
That's sad too when you have an enhanced port as your number one thing. That's pretty.
Yeah.
Sony, get on that. Um,
Uh,
so today we really wanted to just talk about newcomers to SMT, how to get people into the franchise, and just overall how to treat newcomers that are looking to play their first MegaTen.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
We
Uh,
wanted to get into it last week, but Persona 4, well, yeah, Persona 4 Suplex Hold kind of stole the show.
and snorting cocaine off hookers' asses. Anyways, so so I guess really this is a subject that I've kind of thought about a lot, seeing as how I created a four, soon to be six-part guide on helping newcomers into the series. Because to be completely honest, SMT is not the most approachable video game series.
It is not.
It's
You
very
have to be
hard.
some kind of insane to ever consider playing one of these games.
It's very hard. You can't care too much about presentation because, let's be honest, the majority of the games are very low budget. You have to be
Yeah.
kind of a gameplay and story type of guy, but you have to also enjoy mature stories and I guess more minimalistic stories too. So it's very odd niche of people that this game's trying to reach out to, in a sense.
But at the same time, the game is amazingly profitable in the United States.
Yes, which is true. Which I think is odd because there's a lot more traditional games that don't do well, such as like I don't know, like Disgaea and Tales of. Actually, I think Tales might be more popular than SMT in the U.S. I'm not sure, but it seems like
Probably at this point, yeah.
yeah, probably with Zillion Graces F coming out recently and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more people that like SMT than a lot of more traditional fantasy RPG genres or games out there I know, and I think that's interesting, maybe because it stands out so much and it's so unique with the contemporary setting and stuff, and I guess just the religious aspects too probably draw people in.
Or people play Nocturne and it's like, oh my god, Dante, I need to buy this game.
All three people that did that. I don't know anyone that. Oh, also
that
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 made me.
game,
Um,
Dante.
this is actually hilarious because the opposite is true for me. My birthday is coming up recently, and my family is weird, and every time it's someone's birthday when they're over 15, everyone just kind of universally gets $300, like for their birthday.
Wow.
That's how my family runs, I guess. So it's like, oh, it's your birthday, $300, and then like we don't really like throw a party or anything, but it's nice. And I was thinking about getting the Devil May Cry HD collection, Devil May Cry 4, and maybe for shits and giggles DMC, just because I'm a tool. So the opposite is true for me. Because of Nocturne, I got into Devil May Cry because I started looking up more shit about those games recently, and I'm like, wow, these actually look really fun. So
The
thinking
games are
about
very
getting those.
stylish.
Yes. I also downloaded the DMC Devil May Cry demo, and it's great because there's a boss fight, and half the dialogue is just each other saying "fuck you" over and over again.
Yes.
I want to play through that
Yes.
game and then cry myself to sleep because it's so bad. Um, so I guess getting back on track,
Yes. Getting
newcomers.
back on track. Um, I guess one of the biggest things to get newcomers into the series is probably I think the Persona series is probably the way to get a newcomer into like the general SMT games and spin-offs.
That's how most people come in, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
They play Persona and they're like, wow, this game's pretty cool. Are there any other games like this? And you just like ease them into the mainline games, but probably like introducing maybe Soul Hackers next or something like that.
I would not go Soul Hackers. I actually
You
have a
wouldn't go Soul Hackers?
no, that's too much,
Aw,
too much.
that's
I
too much.
I like to say that game is for people that have played the modern ones and want to get into the older ones but need like a bridge, because that game is like half and half um old and contemporary SMT, which is why I recommend that for people that are like, oh, I want to play SMT 1 and 2, but they're crazy hard and the interface sucks. I'm like, well, play Soul Hackers because it'll ease you in, because it's still hard and kind of bullshit, but at the same time, it still has enough of that modern SMT style and flair going on that will ease you into it.
Well, I still haven't even played Soul Hackers. I mean, I got my 3DS right in front of me. I could get it off the eShop at any moment.
The other thing with Soul Hackers too is there's a lot of difficulty and customizable modifiers for how hard or easy you want to make the game, which is really nice for newcomers.
Oh, cool.
But I guess another issue is there's a lot of people that start off with Persona 3 or 4 and then never play any of the other games besides Persona 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And I mean
I guess they're
that's
used to that. I guess they like.
they want to be an
I
anime.
guess what. Yeah, they want to be an anime. It's just
Yes.
like my Japanese animes.
So I guess that's kind of an issue. I mean, you see this a lot on game FAQs mostly. Um,
Yeah.
I guess that's where I have the most experience MegaTen community wise, but it's almost this point where if someone doesn't want to play the other games, don't like be a douche about it, but just like be like, hey, these are pretty cool. Like leave the door open, but don't like
Yeah.
try forcing people because that's just gonna piss them off more and not want to play them more. At the same
Yeah.
time, there's something I want to say, especially towards game FAQs. There are a lot of people when SMT4 came out that had only heard of Persona and didn't even know there were other like Mega 10 franchises. And they were coming up with like legitimate questions like how similar is this to Persona or whatever, because that's what they knew. But people automatically assumed they were trolling. And I mean
Or they were.
sometimes it was
I
obviously
know it
like,
ran. Yeah, I know it ran rampant on. I think it ran rampant around SMTG on 4chan right around when the game came out. People who only stuck to Persona were getting into like SMT and they were asking questions and people just went off on them, calling them Persona fags and all this stuff. I was like, are you guys kidding me?
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people with sticks up their asses in the SMT fandom. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, which is depressing because
Yeah.
they're a minority, but they're the most vocal ones. So I know it sucks, but it's like don't because okay, even if they are trolling or you think they're trolling, just answer the question properly. So when someone that does have that question unironically comes along and sees that, they're not scared off by the fact that you're reacting.
Yeah, you're acting like a total douchebag. They're just like, oh, I want to I don't want to associate myself with these guys. I'll get my questions myself, and then they end up getting frustrated and then stop playing.
Yeah, exactly. It's very it's very weird because especially on game FAQs, like I said, it's just a lot of people seem to have this assumption that there's this like giant you either have to like Persona or you either have to like SMT, which I know we're gonna get into another episode later on
Yeah,
about
well,
how
later
awful
on.
that is. Um, but let's be completely honest here. Most people, at least most SMT fans I know, like both equally about. Like maybe they like one game over the other here, there, whatever. But I mean, usually they like everything. It's the stupid idea that you can only play one or the other that I think alienates a lot of people too, or just they see people arguing about it and it throws them off and say, I don't want to join this fan base.
Yeah,
So,
it's not just like the MegaTen fan base that has this problem. Yeah, a lot of other fan bases have
oh,
this problem.
definitely. Never talk to Final Fantasy people about 7 versus 6.
Oh please,
Or
no.
if anything post 10 is a good game.
Everything after Final Fantasy X was garbage.
There's a guy I saw once who said anything after Final Fantasy 3 was garbage, and I'm like, that's a really weird place to draw the line.
To draw the line. Especially after how garbage Final Fantasy
Like,
II was, but hey, that's my opinion.
oh, that game is awful. I don't see how people. Anyways, uh,
And
eventually I'm gonna replay all the Final Fantasies, and I'm willing to give 2 a second chance. But that my first playthrough of that game, I'm like, fuck this, I'm done. But
nah, I used cheats in Final Fantasy II. I couldn't get through that game
uh,
legitimately. That game is just so bad.
uh,
Anyway, switching gears.
well, I guess we should talk about which games are good to start out with.
Well,
Part of
obviously, Persona.
Persona. But if there's people that wanna, I had this thing with a friend on another site I went to that his first game was Persona 3, and then he didn't really care for it, so his friend lent him Persona 4, and he didn't care for that either. And he was going off about how like weeaboo it was and blah blah blah, and he tried SMT4 and he like thinks it's okay, but there's not enough story for him. And I mean, at the end of the day, Mega 10 games aren't for everyone.
Yeah, they definitely are.
But I think it's
Um,
important to if you're recommending it to a friend, just based off their personality or what they like in games, kind of tailor that to what to start out with.
yeah, I know for some people who start off with Persona, they may go into Digital Devils. I mean, not Digital Devil, Devil Survivor, because
Yeah,
the art style is kind of similar to the anime style that Persona is known for. So
and
they might go to
the
that
plot is
franchise
very
first.
similar.
Yeah,
Um, I really like people who are on this channel probably already saw. I have the beginner's guide, which I keep referencing. I think part 3. No. Part 2. There we go. God damn, I'm terrible. Uh, I talk about what games you should start out with, and Devil Survivor Overclocked is really great because it's very traditional SMT plot, but at the same time it's a lot more anime-ish, and I guess it's easier to get into plot-wise because it's kind of familiar, but at the same time it introduces the law versus chaos stuff well. And
yeah,
Persona 3 I highly recommend too, simply because it doesn't have law versus chaos, but it's dark and it kind of gets the point across that this is what Mega 10 feels like almost. So,
yeah. Persona 3 is a good gateway into the Megaten atmosphere, far more so than Persona 4. Sorry, but Persona 4 is just too
it,
sunshine and rainbows.
people are still bitching about me for saying Persona 4 isn't a great place to start, and I think that's mostly because they started with it. But the reason people don't seem to get that just because Persona 4 isn't a good place to start if you want to get into the entire franchise doesn't make it a bad game.
Yeah, definitely not. Persona
It
4 is one of the best RPGs that
oh,
the
definitely.
PS2 has ever had.
It's definitely one of the greatest RPGs ever made. It's just that it's not really dark enough, and when it does get dark, there's no permanent consequences, really.
Yeah,
So it doesn't really fit because if you go from Persona 4 and then say, "Oh, I want to start playing other SMT games," you're gonna be like, "Whoa, that was a mood whiplash." It it kind of gives you the wrong impression almost that
Yeah, all the sunshine and kittens in your heart will just die if you play an SMT if you start off with Persona 4.
I want to know what the mood whiplash of going from Persona 4 to Nocturne is like. Actually, I'm playing through Persona 4 right now. I think I'm going to play Nocturne right after just to see how terrible that transition is.
Oh my god. But
So,
yeah, if you start off with Persona 3, you'll definitely have a better time easing into the atmosphere that is the mainline SMTs. If you start with Persona 4, it's probably better to start out to go into maybe like Devil Survivor 2 or the first one. I
the
think
thing
either
with
one is fine.
yeah, the thing with Devil Survivor 2, which I like to stray people away from playing that, is the 3DS port is coming out right this fall.
Yeah,
So
fall in Japan.
yeah, and see, it's bad because like I want to give that people like this is a great place to start the series off on, and it's not necessarily like totally Law versus Chaos, but it still has the ideas across and stuff like that. And honestly, I do think it's better than Devil Survivor 1, but it's really weird because it's like, well, this is a really great game, just don't play it yet because of the 3DS ports coming out and stuff, and
And it's
that
coming out
kind
in
of sucks.
Japan, and then Atlas USA will probably announce that they're bringing it over like a month later, and then
I
it will
hope.
come out in 2014,
I
and then
hope.
Europe will get it in 2015.
Okay.
So everything's good.
Hopefully, with Sega running everything now, that won't be such a big gap. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Um, I guess another thing with newcomers is since there's so many franchises, they just don't know where to start. So a lot of them think, well, I'll just go in release order because a lot of people like to do that.
Yeah.
The problem here, I will say this, and this is going to be a really, really awkward analogy, but MegaTen is kind of like Metal Gear Solid in that no, when you tell your friends to play Metal Gear, like the series, you probably aren't going to tell them to start off with Metal Gear 1 on the MSX. You're probably going to tell them to jump straight to Metal Gear Solid for the PS1 or the GameCube version. The reason being, Metal Gear Solid kind of defined what the series would be from there on out, which is kind of
Yeah.
how I feel about telling people to start with like some of the SNES games or even the PS1 games in Mega 10 is that's kind of a weird thing because you're going to play SMT1 and there's no press turn. There's not much of a story going on. Um, just the first person dungeon crawling, which you don't see very often anymore, except for Strange
Yeah.
Journey. So, in that
If
regard,
you are if
yeah,
you are seriously just gonna start, if you're seriously gonna start with like SMT games first, definitely pick up Nocturne since that's the more that has like it doesn't necessarily have law versus chaos and neutral, and it has all those other different factions and endings and stuff. But it does have press turn. It does have some staples that are in future SMT and other MegaTen titles.
see,
So it's definitely better to start there than SMT 1 and 2.
I'm gonna disagree with you and tell people to start with 4 because it does have law and chaos and everything, and they do have tutorials, which is nice because most SMT.
Yeah, it has tutorials and it has grinding and all that stuff too. But like, I don't know. I don't know. I tell people to start with Nocturne, and I still tell them to start with Nocturne, even with the advent of SMT4.
The thing that's weird about SMT4, and I kind of sort of regret giving it a 5 out of 5 on the beginner's guide. Okay, so here's my train of thought when I was making the beginner's guide. I gave it a 5 out of 5 for, being a gateway game. The reason being is that all of the reviews in Japan were saying, "Oh, this is such a great introduction to SMT and they have all these nice tutorials, but it's still hard." And I'm thinking, "Oh, it's just going to be as hard as every other SMT game, but still have the tutorials." And then when I actually played SMT4, it has really nice tutorials, and then the beginning part of the game is the most difficult part of the game. So,
Yeah, and then,
so
like
that's kind of weird.
once you get to a certain part of the game, it just gets ridiculously easy.
Oh yeah,
Even if you
around the 3/4 mark, you shouldn't have
yeah.
a problem with that game.
So like that's part of the reason why I say play Nocturne over SMT4 because it still challenges you even way late into the game.
Yeah. Actually,
But
I'd say with like Mott and shit like that, it actually gets harder later in the
yeah.
game. So,
But
especially
if
the
you're
Ghost of
like,
Demon ending.
yeah. But if you're like new to the RPG genre and you want to start off in SMT, definitely pick up SMT4, since that's more of a gateway into that is a gateway into SMT, but it's also kind of a gateway into RPGs in general.
Oh, see that? I don't know. That
It has leveling, it has like the
yeah,
stat distribution. It
I
has that stuff that's in other RPGs, which is why I'm saying it.
I hear ya. See, this is weird because like I kind of have this problem where my girlfriend's never played an. Okay, so here, let me start from the beginning. Around like a year ago, because like my girlfriend is a big like movie buff and stuff, so she got me into all these like ridiculously weird movies and genres and directors and crap that I never would have ever imagined. And then I'm like, well, I should get you into gaming then because you got me into this crazy world of films I've never heard of. So I started her off with playing like Zelda, Mario, like crap like that, easy stuff. Like
Yeah.
basically any first party Nintendo franchise I started her off with. And I've been kind of debating for a while. I'm like, if she ever wants to play an RPG, what would be the RPG to start out with? And I've kind of sort of thought Final Fantasy IV, but like, I can't imagine giving her any MegaTen RPG and then like as a first RPG. I think it's just too hard as a whole.
That is very true.
Like,
That's why
uh,
I said for someone who's also interested in the Megaten franchise and they're still kind of new to RPGs, they could just start off with not Megaten but SMT. They could start with SMT4. If they're starting with Megaten in general, then pick Persona.
yeah, I mean, it's really weird because like I just can't imagine having your first RPG be any SMT thing like as a fun time. Like that just
Oh no.
seems it'd be really hard. So
This game is hard.
yeah. And then I guess just there's also the idea of recruiting Pokemon fans and Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest fans to play Mega 10 games, and it's like, oh, play this game because it's the most like Final Fantasy, or oh, play this because it's more like Pokemon, which is weird because it, I guess one thing that people use a lot is SMT is dark Pokemon, but with demons instead of furry little creatures, which people get pissed off about because it's not exactly true, but it's a good enough hook. I feel like I still use that to
Yeah,
describe it to some
it's a
people.
good enough analogy.
It is. And I know there's always that one douchebag in the back of the room that goes, Mega 10 came first. But fuck those people. People know Pokemon more, so it's a good analogy. And everyone gets that.
Yeah, if it was the other way around, we could say like Pokemon's like SNT, but except with demons and
Yeah,
furry creatures.
yeah. But no one. See, the sad thing is Megami Tensei 1 and 2 were Japan only. So sure enough, no one in North America really got introduced to that sort of genre until Pokemon came out. So
Yeah,
usually when you think of mon collecting RPGs, the first thing you think of is Pokemon here.
yeah. All right.
So I guess we talked about newcomings enough. Anything you want to add or not really?
Um, there's nothing I really want to add.
I
I think I
guess
said my piece.
I think the one thing I should say is if you've played Final Fantasy, I think Digital Devil Saga is like the perfect bridge because there's no monster collecting, but it still has like the same
Yeah,
type of gameplay with your characters being, who you fight with and party members and stuff. So I think that's a great way to go about doing it if you're a Final Fantasy
yeah, I say
fan.
so.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
you're like a Dragon Quest fan who's more used to like traditional turn-based stuff, I say go with like Persona. Um, Persona has the traditional turn-based stuff. Um, I'd say like Nocturne and all that, but that has press turn
Yeah.
where you just get turn after turn after turn, and it's not really straight up traditional. Same can be said about Persona 3 or 4. I think it's like more Persona 1 and 2 would be more their speed.
For the negative
since it's definitely more traditional.
for the -5 people out there listening to this that are into Ultima or Wizardry, you could probably jump into the old SMT games and be completely fine. I mean, if you can go through the bullshit in both of those series early games, then you can go through the regular SNES SMT games. No problem. Um,
No problem.
so we have. Oh, also I want to add. Speaking of Dragon Quest, if you like Dragon Quest V, and that's your favorite Dragon Quest, like it is for me, then you're gonna have no problem adjusting to any MegaTen game. So we
Dragon
have.
Quest 8 is actually my favorite Dragon Quest.
I think that goes for a lot of people.
Yeah,
I
that
want
game
to
was so
I
good.
want to I really hope that 7 3DS, like the 3DS remake of 7 comes over because I've
I don't
always wanted to
know.
play that.
Like Square Enix considered Dragon Quest to be dead in North America, despite the fact that
Dragon Quest 9 sold great.
yeah, and every other Dragon Quest game has been brought to America. Nintendo said that they were going to take over Dragon Quest licensing, so we'll have to complain to Nintendo about where's our Dragon Quest 7 3DS. Anyway, moving along.
Fun fact, real quick.
Oh,
I was in New York the day that Dragon Quest 9 came out, so I went to the Nintendo World Store and I bought the game there along with all the neckbeards that were playing upstairs and screaming at each other to do better in battle, and it was great. Okay, moving on now. Um, So we have 11 emails, and also I haven't checked our spam folder on Cathedral of Shadows at gmail.com, which you should email us at if you ever want to email us in a question. So I checked the spam
yes.
folder, and we have 3 glorious spam emails, and they're all pretty hilarious, so I'm going to read those first. So Mrs. Fatim Jassim uh, says, hello, compliment of the day to you. I am Mrs. Fatim Jassim. I am sending this brief letter to solicit your partnership to transfer 19.5 million US dollars. I shall send you more information and procedures when I receive a positive response from you. 1. Your full name. 2. Your nationality. 3. Your credit card number.
Hmm.
I do want $19.5 million, but
Yeah, me too.
I
Um,
don't know if I can trust this lady with my full name. I mean,
and my credit card.
my credit card number and nationality are totally fine, but I don't
Hmm.
know about that full name.
Yeah, that full name is pretty suspicious. I'm gonna
um,
have to say no on that offer.
yeah, screw you, Mrs. Fatim Jassim. Delete.
Yeah.
And then we have Johnson Bernard, which is the
Oh,
most American name ever. And he says, "Hi friend."
yes.
He says, "Hi friend, I am a banker. I want to transfer an abandoned USD 5.5 million to your bank account. Bank is in all capital. 40% will be you. Um, I don't want 40% of me being money, so no."
No, no thanks.
And then just here's a guy named Sean. Uh,
Uh,
and he says, "Hi, my name's Sean. I just wanted to contact you after seeing your video on YouTube today. This is a promotional ad involving your video getting a whole lot of popularity. First off, you have a lot of potential. And if you look at someone who's successful at doing what they're doing right now, you'll see that they all have one thing in common. They're really popular on the web. Your pure skill and talent alone
no shit.
Your pure skill and talent would cut it alone anymore. Fuck you. And the 400-ish people that listen to this podcast are going to disagree. I am a strong, beautiful, independent Rasen, and I don't need no web promotional thingy.
Yeah.
Delete. Scrub.
Moving along.
See, Sean, no one knew about you, but now 400 Cathedral of Shadows know about you.
Yeah.
Promotion, bitch. Anyways, so let's get on to our actual email questioners. We have 11, which is pretty
Oh,
awesome.
cool.
Actually, how much time are we at recording wise? Because I think we could
Like
probably.
30 minutes in.
I don't know if we can get through. Whatever, we'll go with the flow. Because the last 2 episodes, I'm pretty sure I said I don't know if we can get through all of them, but then we did
But we
anyways.
got
So, so who knows? Jordan asks, return emailer Jordan, if the 2 main characters from Persona 3 and 4 fought with each other, who do you think would win, Minato or you?
Minato because he has the power of the universe in the
Yes.
story. Right.
That, and I think if if we're going with the assumption that they like if we're going with the assumption that Minato can't use the universe arcana thingy, then
He'd
draw.
still he's
I'd say
on his
draw.
wild card is stronger. Because
How? How? Wait, like they're basically the same person though.
Death, spoilers by the way. Death had amplified his powers with the wild, so he made him stronger.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I always thought of Minato and you as the same person, except one has like gray hair and one has blue hair. So because
Yeah.
they effectively play the same in game. But I'm gonna.
Narukami fusion spells that he's garbage.
Oh yeah, that's true. So I guess I'm gonna say draw. Katsu says Minato. So thank you, Jordan, for that. So here we have, let's see, what is this guy? Markel. Markel 9000, and he says, "Hey guy." So I guess only one of us can answer this question.
Oh,
No, I'm joking. I want to know what your opinion on Persona 4 Arena and how Persona 1 and 2 characters, if they were in, would be implemented gameplay-wise and story-wise, and if you think people of a certain age group should be allowed, like youngsters. Then he says Jack Marth for life at the end of his thing. So
Jack North.
yes.
Hmm.
Well, Persona 1 and 2 people are going to be really old, like not really old, I guess, like late 20s, early 30s if they're in Persona 4 Arena.
Most if all these theories about Nyarlathotep being a thing in Persona 4 Arena, we'll definitely see Tatsuya.
He needs to be in if it is Nyarlathotep because let's be honest here, like how shitty would it be to have these like the fight isn't personal then. I mean, just have these
Yeah.
random high schoolers deal with the problems that Persona 2 was entirely about. It would kind of undermine Persona 2 in my opinion. Like they need Tatsuya in there if they're going with Nyarlathotep being the
The
MO.
big bad.
Yes. So I don't know gameplay wise. I don't know what would Tatsuya be like gameplay wise. I for some reason in
He's,
my head I imagine a rushdown character.
he said mentioned something about being a police officer and it was Persona 3 during a TV program or whatever.
Oh,
So you probably just have like a gun and maybe a police baton. He just whack people with it
yeah.
and like some hollow to burn stuff. So
Wasn't Akihiko?
probably like that, but except a lot less lame.
Oh, um, wasn't Akihiko in Trinity Soul a cop?
Yes, he was.
I still need to watch that.
He was a pretty shitty cop because he didn't use his persona. So no using persona to track down bad guys.
Um, let's see any other Persona characters. I guess like the Persona 1 main character, but I wouldn't know what he would even play like. He'd probably be a Shoto.
He has a sword and again like a submachine gun. So I guess maybe he could be like Deathstroke and Injustice and just shoot people.
Yes, the best character. Then
The
have that
best
weird
character.
flippy sword slash thingy. That's the fastest thing in the game. I'm assuming they patched that recently. I haven't played Injustice in forever, but that'd be great.
I haven't played it just as a I just saw net play and it looked pretty ridiculous. Anyway, you
Uh,
probably just play like Deathstroke.
it's like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter had a baby, but it's kind of broken a little bit, and Superman beats everything. So, um,
Oh. Well, he is Superman after all.
yeah, that's true. So I guess that answers Markle's question, unless you have any other Persona 1 and 2 character ideas for how they'd be implemented.
Chances are they probably just have one representative from each game. I don't see them adding more than one because
I don't
all
either.
two.
And then he also said something about limiting. Hold on, I just closed the email. Let me open it up back up. I just realized. He said, "Do you think people of a certain age group should be allowed, like youngsters?" So I think he's asking if Ken should be in because he's the only like really young character I can
Kid.
think of. Yeah.
Well, Ken Ken might just get revealed in the next PV. We don't know. Like the next PV might come out, or we might see some scans, and it's just like Ken's in the game, and so is Maru. Here's their personas, and here's what they can do. So who knows? We might be seeing them, we might not, but we'll have to see.
Let's see who else. Okay, so holy shit, this is a long post. Oh yes, also this is from GZEUS, who you've probably seen comment on a lot of the podcast episodes and always apologizes for commenting a lot. Cool guy, cool guy. You can comment all you want, bro. I'm not offended.
Yeah.
Also, I think this is actually pretty hilarious because at the end of this email, he said that he would give Katsu a mic for free, which is incredibly awesome. And I think this
Yes,
is
because
hilarious because your mic was
I don't even use it. I don't even use a mic. I use a webcam.
Yes, that's why your audio is bad a lot. So now we're finally going to be super duper awesome, great quality, and Katsu's mic issues won't ever be an issue anymore. So
Yeah.
everyone go to GZEUS channel, which I'll probably have in the description, and then tell him that he's a bro.
Yeah.
But he asks, uh, or no, he has a few thoughts on SMT Cross Fire Emblem. First, he says he honestly can't imagine anything that happens in such a combination of styles could possibly make any combination of characters make any more or less sense. So I guess he's going. The idea is so ridiculous already that adding Persona or characters from other MegaTen franchises would hurt the game in any way because the idea is already so ridiculous, which I can kind of see.
Like Project Cross Zone, but even stranger.
Oh God, yeah, that's true. What interests me more is the possibilities with gameplay. He says he always puts gameplay first, which is why he's put Strange Journey aside while he recovers from the Chaos Path in SMT4. Why'd you go Chaos, bro? No. um, and then he says,
Why'd you go Chaos? Oh my gosh.
he says, how do you mix the mechanics of Fire Emblem with disposable weaponry, permadeath, and turn-based TBS battles, which I'm assuming means turn-based. I'm not a Fire Emblem guy, so.
Turn-based strategy.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. With the mechanics of SMT, such as demon summoning, fusion, press turn, and alignments, and he asks, are dungeons involved? Um, that's I never really viewed dungeons as being involved. I would always just think it was going to be a strategy RPG because
Yeah.
they're both
There,
series
there
are
has
familiar with
been
it.
yeah. There has been strategy Megaten games and Devil Survivor and was it Majin Tensei
Yeah,
strategy RPG, or is that
yeah.
okay? So yeah, both sides aren't strangers to the strategy RPG genre. They just had to find a way to mix them together and make it work well, and not as convoluted as Project Cross Zone was. Even though I like that game, is chaotic. Makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But he asks if permadeath will be involved, and some of the more Fire Emblem stuff like disposable weaponry, and I don't know about equipment stuff because it seems like SMT a lot with equipment stuff. They just don't really care much about equipment systems. Like it's like okay, here's some better equipment, but they never really delve deeply into
they really make you better.
yeah, it's like they never really delve deeply with
They just
the pros and cons of two different armors and or like what helmet to use and stuff like that really. So
you have to find out on your own.
yeah, so I don't know if that will
Um,
go in. I'd be surprised if permadeath was in SMT Crossfire Emblem though. That would be a shock.
considering Hama,
And Mudo. Uh-oh. Katsu, did we lose you? No.
hello, hello,
Oh, yeah, you're back. I thought we were dead.
yay!
There
All right.
we go.
Anyway, I was saying, just imagine what it would be like. Just imagine what it would be like if like Alice was at the game and all she did was spam die for me during a certain point. And like all your units would just drop dead, and if permadeath was on, you never get them back.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling, I have the strange feeling that they will implement permadeath, but they might take out Hama and Muto skills just because to level the playing field, or they might make like a lunatic plus move where Hama and Muto skills are in game, and you just have to pick a god and pray and hope that none of your units will fall to the skill
Yeah.
just because the RNG doesn't like you for a day.
And then he says, also, here's my idea for a demon, a female counterpart to Mara, vagina dentata to the max with wings. Not sure what it would represent, but I'm sure some female demon of some kind somewhere in history would be appropriate. They already have one. It's called Arioch.
Yeah, is that
Yeah,
yes, they do.
yes, it's called Arioch. It's this giant blue demon thingy with a giant vagina stomach thing.
With teeth.
Yeah, so that already exists, bro. SM Atlas has you covered.
Yeah.
um, and then he ends
If you
the
have demon ideas, Atlas has you covered, bro.
he also ends the email with the mic thing, which did you guys sort that out already? Did he send it already?
Yeah, he's gonna send it. Yeah, he sent it yesterday. It's gonna be here on Monday.
Oh, that's awesome. So this is gonna be the last COS with major audio issues. That's awesome. So,
Yay!
like I said, thank you, GZEUS. You are the coolest fan.
The
Um,
coolest, cool.
that's pretty hype that you're donating something to this podcast that only has like 5 or 6 episodes. um, that's amazing. So thank you a bunch for that, and thanks for the question. So
Yes.
now we have Marcus Johnson. Or shit, god damn it, I'm so bad with actually. You know what? I'm gonna leave that in because his YouTube username has his full name anyways. So I'm sure he doesn't care about having it known to the public. Um, so whew,
Yeah.
saved my ass there. He says, "What are the top 3 games a beginner should beat uh, to feel somewhat good at SMT?" I think he means feel somewhat good at SMT/Persona. Also, besides SMT 1, 2, and If, what are some good games that are dark in plot like the ones I just mentioned that have been ported to the USA? Oh, almost forgot. In
Hmm.
playing Persona 2 Innocent Sin, or I think he says, yeah, he's playing Persona 2 Innocent Sin and was wondering how is Persona 1 related. P.S. He doesn't mind spoilers. Um, the main
Persona 1 characters appear in Persona 2 Innocent Sin. They're
I know
uh
Tammy's in or Tamaki Uchida.
Yukino. Yeah.
Oh, you.
Yukino from Persona 1 is in Persona 2 Innocent Sin.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
And in a Persona 2 Eternal Punishment, you get K Nanjo, you get well, K was called a Nate in the English version of Persona 1.
Yeah.
So yeah. Um he's in Eternal Punishment. Some other chick from Persona 1 is in Eternal Punishment. She wears like this gaudy dress. It looks disgusting. Um I'm trying to think of who else.
I know Tamaki
This
Uchida's
probably this
all 3, like
yeah.
If, Persona 1, Persona 2, but also just the director in an interview, you can look this up, probably says all of the Persona games are in the same universe. So he
Yeah.
confirmed it. So you can't dismiss those as cameos. They're all one big story.
Yes. One big story.
Then he says a good and funny playthrough to watch of Persona 3 FES is by Psychedelic Snake. It's long, but the commentary is great. And then he says thanks again. So thanks, Marcus Johnson. Um,
I don't think we
oh, audio. Are you back? Crap.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, there you are. You're back.
Oh,
Yes. Do you not hear me now?
yay, yay. Try
Okay.
again.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
I
this
hear
is.
you.
I don't know if that's our internet
I'll
or if
say
this is your mic.
I
Oh
don't know. It might be the internet.
yeah, it was storming here the past couple of days, so maybe that's it. Who knows? I'm gonna have a lot of editing. Maybe I'll just leave this all in because it's hilarious. It's probably not, but I might just leave it all in because I'm a dick. So, and then Marcus Johnson also has another email who, or it says, he was on Gamific, he was looking up 3DS games and came across Persona for the 3DS. What's the info on this game and what are your thoughts about it? Uh, and what if it's a new title?
I just thought it was a Persona.
Oh,
Oh,
oh no, no, yeah,
oh,
I wasn't finished yet.
I just thought it was a yeah.
Or,
Oh, you can go ahead.
yeah, okay. Awkward. He says, what if it's a new title? What features would you like to see, like gameplay,
Awkward.
uh, to interacting with characters, basically any and all aspects of the game. Uh, thanks for Persona, or thank you guys for getting me into Persona slash SMT. P.S. Atlas, would you hire? No, he says, P.S. Atlas, you should hire these guys for the franchise. Uh, Atlas,
Yay!
At,
I get stable income.
Atlas, hire us. Anyways, um, also I
Yes.
just realized we didn't answer the first part of his second email. I forgot that last one was a two-parter. So so he asked before what three SMT games to play to make you feel like you are good at SMT. I'm just gonna go ahead and say Nocturne, SMT4, and Devil Survivor 1. If you beat those
Nocturne.
games, you're gonna feel great.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna feel good about yourself.
Do you
Well, it
have a
depends on what
different?
ending you get Nocturne.
Yeah, that's true. And Devil Survivor 1.
Yeah,
What three would you say?
the three you listed.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Um, so I guess he wants us to talk about the Persona 3DS thing, which I think we touched upon like one of our earlier episodes, and
Yeah,
I don't
chances are it
know,
might be chances are it might be a Persona 1 3S port, and
possibly.
yeah,
I think that's honestly
I
something.
don't think they put a I don't think they put like a main Persona title on the 3DS like Persona 5. You imagine how angry the fan base would be.
Oh God,
I don't think they go for it. I don't think they go for it.
they would riot. But with Persona 3DS, I made the Resident Evil Revelations connection a few episodes back, where Resident Evil PSP was announced early on in the PSP's life, and then we never heard anything about it when the PSP was still being, used. Then finally, Resident Evil Revelations comes out for the 3DS, and someone asked Capcom if the games were anyway related, and Capcom basically said, "Yeah, we scrapped Resident Evil PSP and kind of remade it for the 3DS as Resident Evil Revelations." So I almost feel like that's what Persona 3DS is going to be like, where they say it exists and that they announced it and all that, but I don't think we're going to see it on the 3DS or at all, even because they just haven't talked about it since. So
Yeah, it might have gotten moved into another platform, or it might got pocketed for another day. Who knows?
yeah,
Or maybe it was Persona 5, and they was like, nah, putting it on 3DS is a bad idea because fans would riot. Let's just put it on console.
yeah, I'd agree. Have another email from Teddy. Um, what are some of your favorite and least favorite dungeon mechanics from the various SMT games and its spin-offs, e.g., teleport mazes, damage tiles, pitfalls, etc.? And then it says, if you had to come up with a new one with the goal of making players as angry as possible, what would it be? Um, hmm.
Hmm. I
I
really, I really dislike poison areas in SMT4.
yes, I
I
was.
just hate spending
Thank
all
you,
that money to
thank
get.
you.
I hated spending all that money to get like poison, to get like dispoisons and all that stuff because all
Yeah.
the demons I had with like dispoison on them, I had already fused them for better demons because most of them were garbage.
So I complained about the poison areas on Game of FAQs once, and someone responded with, "Well, they're supposed to piss you off. You're not supposed to like them." And I go, "Yeah, but it still doesn't make them fun." The analogy I like to use for these types of thing is, well, I guess anyone that's familiar with MMORPGs. I don't know if this is still a thing because I haven't played any of them in forever, and I never really got too in depth with any of them. But I don't know, Katsu, maybe you know about this. You know how sometimes with PvP and MMOs, there's this kind of unspoken rule
Yeah.
that you don't use healing items. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason
Yeah.
the reason being is the players kind of agree upon it because at the end of the day, if you start allowing healing items, it becomes more about resources and who can afford to pay for more potions rather than skill. And I kind of feel like that's what the poison areas and damage tiles on SMT games kind of represent is they're basically there to get you to waste a lot of your money and resources on getting items to heal yourself up. And it's not really about skill or avoiding them, really. So I think they're kind of a waste of time.
Yeah,
But
it's just about how much money you have and
yeah,
how much are you willing to line your pockets with just poisons.
yeah. I remember I had like 30 by the time I finished SMT4, just always in reserve, just in case.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
so if we could
Now
invent
for
one,
I don't know, the poison tile kind of kind of outdid itself in that category. I don't think I
yeah,
could think of one better that's more using the poison tiles.
that something that would just like piss the player off. Like, oh man, that's tough. Like, I want to say like something Legend of Zelda y where like you have the giant hand come out of nowhere then bring you back to the beginning of the dungeon, but I have a feeling there's a teleport maze somewhere that already does that I just don't know about. um, so like something that would just make like restart your progress, just that would be aggravating. Or maybe if you want to go for totally unrealistic, you could have a dungeon tile that just deletes your save data and you have to start the entire game all over again. That'd be aggravating. It's not
That'll work too.
realistic. That'll never happen in any game ever because no one will buy it, but that could be a thing.
Yeah. And then sure, a lot of people would complain that Atlas and they probably have to patch it because people are not playing their games. But yeah,
Yeah. So I think we're gonna answer one more because we're both having internet issues. It seems like,
yeah.
and mic issues and audio stuff. So sorry if this episode sounds up or sounds not very great. Next episode will for sure be better.
This is probably
Um,
the most low. This is probably the most low quality episode to
yeah,
date.
definitely. Um, which is depressing, but we promise it'll be better. So we're cutting ourselves short a little bit here, but
Yeah.
we have we have one more emailer. I think this guy's new. He just calls himself Brooke, and he says he's loving the podcast so far. Keep up the great job. And he says his question is he saw someone theorize that Sho and Deidara may have a connection due to the red hair and the scars. What do you think about this theory? I wouldn't say it's unrealistic.
Yeah, they might just be father and son who enjoy scarring their faces.
Or time travel.
Time travel.
Or maybe Deidara has a.
Yeah, they might just go blaze blue with the plot.
Oh, God. And then you went back in time and fought the beast and became one of the six legendary heroes, and then you became Yukumen. Yes.
Yeah, you come in.
And then we'd have to rename Yosuke to Yosuke the Blood Edge, and it'd be great. So
And all that stuff.
stay
Who
tuned for
knows?
stay tuned for Persona 5 Chrono Phantasma. Um, I don't know. I really wouldn't say it's out of the question, especially the scar, like the red hair thing. It's like, it's an anime-ish game. Everyone has red hair, or there a lot of people have red hair, but the scars are very, very similar. That's kind of
Very similar.
yeah. So I think there's gonna be a connection somewhere along those lines. So thank you for that question, Brooke. Um, I think that's it for now. So
Yeah,
goodbye, guys.
we need to wrap this up before the
Yeah,
connection drops. See you guys.
I think I might just title this our worst episode yet. So, thanks for listening to
Yes, this episode is pretty freaking.
Thanks for listening to Bad Internet of Shadows. I hope we see you next episode. Man, this will be a fun one to edit.
Yes. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Gather demons and come again.